Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Authenticity Journey. I am Claire Venine, and co hosting with me is Marlon Bermudez.
Hello and welcome.
Today, we are joined by Giovanni, the chairman and CEO of Palm Beach Equity Partners, where he guides growth oriented companies through disciplined strategy and milestone driven execution. With over 30 years of leadership experience and more than 7 years as a senior strategic consultant at GF Strategic Consulting, he specializes in scaling organizations, navigating complexity, and driving sustainable growth through proven management systems. Giovanni, welcome to the Authenticity Journey. It's a pleasure to have you.
Sure. So first off, I really like that aspect of it because I think oftentimes when you are on a panel or you speak and you do it in bits and pieces, and I don't know that people understand really the core of where the responses are coming from or where the viewpoints come from, and it's often easy to box somebody and say, okay, well, maybe you have a lot of money, or maybe you've had whatever journey, or maybe you come from a family or whatever it
Right.
is. And they don't really understand you know, each component that made you you. And that has to do both with, your personal experiences, family experiences, educational experiences, other experiences. So for me, military, and then business, both, we all love to say failures are great, even though that sounds funny. But I think it's a lot more than that. And I don't know that people have defined really, what success is universally, because it cannot be defined universally.
That's true. I lost my voice.
Yeah, no, so for me, I just think, to kind of give you the basics, I do have the perspective of being an Italian immigrant. I am, off the boat, so to speak. So
Oh,
I, grew up in a family that I was very fortunate. I had a mother and father and an older brother. However, they were children of World War II. So
wow.
my mother, my mother's father, who I am named after, Giovanni.
And that's a
He,
beautiful name, very unique.
thank you, thank you. He was killed in World War II when she was 3 years old. So she grew up without a father, but as a war orphan, and her own mother unfortunately also passed when she was 15.
Oh,
So my mother, being a 15-year-old orphan, but also one of six girls, the youngest. Um, Although her sisters did their best once
right.
their mom passed, she ultimately um, was educated by the sisters, by nuns.
Oh, wow.
And so to this day, the religious aspect and the core of my mother is rooted in my case, Roman Catholicism, and really understanding what guides her, what's meaningful to her.
Right.
And later on in life, and the reason why I'm saying so much about my mother, because it'll really weave into my decision making these
It
days.
has shaped who you are
Oh,
today.
yes. And she's also the bat phone. When I need something,
Oh, that's beautiful.
that's who I call. and,
Wow.
anyone knows, but I save it for when I really need things, like the big phone call. And it's true.
She's your
It
support
works.
system.
Oh, let me tell you, my mother's never not come through. So, I'm a big believer in prayer, and she is on the money. So
Oh, wow.
people know I sometimes tell, little bits and pieces online.
Right.
I social comments and stuff, or I take little videos, but she's going to get mad at me, but she set a record in August, like 542 rosaries. like
Oh, wow.
she
Oh,
will, like,
wow.
it's no joke. Okay. And even I'm fortunate today you met my sons, my boys.
Yes.
So Connor, and my son Tommy, they know, they will sit with my mother and do a rosary, and like that's important for her. So anyway, to get back over to the timeline, The reality is that my mother, it was my first guide, right? So, and I was the baby of the family. My brother's 5.5 years older.
Right.
So, as a sort of old school, my mother took care of us, right? So, we ate based off what my mother gave us, and we followed the rules and so forth. So we were influenced a lot
By your mom.
by my mother for
Oh, wow.
sure, and also my father for sure. But my father had a different role. So one of the things I've noticed, and I'm sure tonight we'll go back and forth, and we'll
Yes, absolutely.
there'll be times we're speaking in current formats, and there'll be times I'll
Back
reach
in the
back
past.
and so forth. But the reality is that in my case, I stress that I'm at the point that if I'm going to contribute anything to anyone, and I hope it's true of this discussion, you'll realize that I'm unapologetic about being brought up by great parents. That's my story.
Wow, that's actually a beautiful story.
And a lot of times, people, you feel like you can't say it. And especially now that I'm older, and so to put it in context, I'm 57. I'll be 58 in May. I've met people throughout my life now who I realized didn't have parents or didn't have
Yes. A support
even,
system.
hate to say it, but good parents, or just they grew up differently. That was not my case.
Right.
So up until probably, half of my life, because I grew up in a small town and other things, and then I was in the military and so forth, I never thought of the world that way. I thought everybody had a mother and father. I thought everybody like it's just the way it is.
Right.
And then you realize later that's not the case. So now I'm very conscious when I speak to someone and try and understand where they're coming from.
Because that's not everyone's story.
It's not everyone's story. And isn't it funny? I actually opened my story by telling you my mother's story, who did not have a father, who
Wow.
mother and father.
Yes.
But you know what happens when you're successful? You have haters, especially in this day and age, based on wealth. And people think that you were born wealthy.
True.
And you're like, what?
True.
I grew up in a one-room apartment. It didn't, not one bedroom, a one-room apartment. It's now the laundry room in the same building.
Wow.
And they're like ready to like come at you about money. And you're like, what are you talking about? And you want to tell them your story. And you want to go back and you want to say, wait a minute, you need to hear our whole story
Right.
and why, we grew up a certain way. And so anyway, I think that in this day and age, because people want to come at you and say things, my point in bringing that up was I am able to say, no. Stop crying. Okay? I don't want to hear your victim stuff, because I'll get you on the phone with my mother right now.
Oh.
Okay? And there's no way you suffered more than she did. Zero.
Wow.
Zero way. Okay? Because she was the youngest. They used to send her upstairs to see if the soldiers were in the street.
That's great.
So and I will not use profanity on this program.
Right.
So, but when I want to emphasize something, I do sometimes, and I will tell someone, if you really understood what you watch on TV or whatever movie you just saw, and you love watching the Oscars, and that movie really moved you, well, guess what? That's our life. Okay? So that's our
Wow.
life. So go talk to my mother and ask her how she has to go upstairs and see if the soldiers are still in the street. Or when I found her father's grave in Germany in 2015, which was her goal in life, which I was scared to do, because most people, when they do the last thing they want to do in life, then you're like, they have no reason to live.
Oh, I never thought of that.
So I was super scared about doing
Right.
that, because my mother ended up being also a young widow at 53. So, she's now 87 and 86. Right? She's going to yell at me. I said it. All right, 86. It's not 87 yet. But we just had her birthday in November. And so, you know, for
Is she in
30,
Italy or in
she's
America?
actually in the Orlando area. She's
Oh,
with my
okay.
brother, Tony.
Okay.
And so, you know, but for the last 33 years, she's been a widow. And she really turned to the church. And let me tell you, when I go to church with my mother and her church, everybody in that church knows my mother. They know
Oh,
her seat.
yes.
She knows everything about
Everybody.
everybody. She tells me who just went through this, who has this, da, da, da.
Right.
It is amazing. She's like a celebrity. It's like
Oh,
watching President Trump go to an MMA fight.
yes, yes, yes.
He
Oh,
goes, she arrives in the arena. It's just amazing. It's hilarious.
that's
But yeah, so I mean, it's just um, you know, something important for me now where I am in dialogue that I think I've reached a real calm point. So when, in other words, when people want to argue things with me or they want to go back and forth, I'm not argumentative. I am very firm in my position based on the history that I've lived. And as I said, I'm unapologetic because I know it's the right thing. There's no way my family wasn't better when my father was there. So if your father's not there, I'm sorry. But I will not tell everybody not to have a father,
absolutely
or it's
not.
like
Yes.
good to not have fathers. I am not going to tell somebody that, you know, whatever thing I went through is a good thing. No, maybe I had to go through a very bad experience. Could have been a business lawsuit, or it could be an employee that didn't work out,
Right.
or it's whatever it is. Okay, we went through it. I'm not going to tell you, okay, we're going to ignore this and repeat something that was bad over and over again. So I just feel now, you know, I just feel so good. I feel so steady and so, um, uh, like fulfilled.
Fulfilled.
Yeah. And I hope that's, you know, as we have tonight's conversation, that it's, it's those points that you can kind of hear in my voice. And I had one of my stories I posted today. It was just an image, and I'm not going to remember every line in it,
Right.
but it just said basically, you know, living your life with addition by subtraction is actually a great thing. You know, you don't have to be so busy. You don't have to do so many things. And just having a cup of coffee or just having quiet time
It's
or just sitting around.
giving value to the smaller
Yeah,
things in life
right. So, in other words, that's success.
and true wealth.
That is. It is. You know, I used to tell people, but I will tie it to wealth and I'll
Yes.
tie it
Yes.
to cash because I think I made a bad decision. Back in, I don't know, 2013, 2012, I bought a mansion in Newport instead of buying a mansion in Positano, right?
Wow.
I was like, man, what was I doing? Because I should have listened to myself, which was I wanted to create a life where people came to visit me. In other words, I don't want to fly around. I'm done.
Right.
And there's a number of reasons for that, you know. And in my case, again, with my military background and some of my political background and other things, I'm very aware, and so my situational awareness makes me say, "Don't do certain things."
Are you afraid of flying?
No, but I don't not put statistics in my decision making process. So if I'm going to do something 50 times, it's going to be one time, it's not going to be that great.
Right.
And so, you know, do I really need to go to a concert with 20,000 people?
Right.
Do I really need to be downtown New Orleans on whatever
Right.
day?
Right. There.
So, because that's where it's all happening,
Risk
right?
management.
Yeah. I mean, you know, unfortunately, the negative, especially violent events, they're going to happen. You know, it's the Boston Marathon. It's
And
New Orleans, whatever, you know.
traveling is a risk for people who are constantly flying daily. They're putting themselves in more risk.
Absolutely. You're around people all the time
All the
too, right? And I mean, I think we can all say without, again, being negative, and this is probably going to be my theme tonight because I feel so strongly about it. And I want to thank you for giving me a forum about this, is to say, don't stop like being naive. Don't let emotion interfere with good decision making. So I can
Right.
love Italy, but not like the train station in Naples. Like, I didn't knock Italy by
Right.
saying, don't go out the back door of this place in Rome. Like, I love it. And that is true of New York. And, you know, I love all my children, right? And Connor, Tommy, Emma, Isabella, Liliana. But, you know, I have Emma in New York. I hope she has a great time in New York. But someday I will be very happy when Emma is with me
Is back.
or is somewhere,
It must be
not
hard,
in New York.
right?
But New York's great.
Yes.
But statistically, you know, how many times are we going to do New York? You know, there's a time, place. We all did New York. I love New York.
Right.
You know, I had a blast. But, all right, all it took was, you know, 2 hour
Right.
traffic, you know, 2 hours worth of traffic in the Holland Tunnel one day after 3 years being like, what am I doing?
It's crazy. Yes.
Get
It's
outta
very
here.
busy. We were in traffic for 2 hours just to get to the airport
Yeah.
last week.
But
so.
but for me, I also think it's you know, everyone lives a different life, and I've always believed that you know, if you've done it already, just keep doing something else, just to move on. Like, and I also believe that, you know, just for me, when I buy certain things or choose certain things, someone else has it, I don't want it. That's my rule, which is complete opposite of kind of the way people live these days. When you look online, everybody looks the same.
Everyone wants
Everybody
what everyone
does the same
has.
thing. And I won't pull out on my iPad or my iPhone different, you know, notes I have, but again, I'll paraphrase. I remember writing some of my thoughts down, and one of them had to do with giving celebrity advice, which is stop doing what you already are doing. Instead, go do what got you to the point of being successful.
Right.
And then go repeat that in some other business. It is ridiculous to me. Again, what is success? And I hope that I can make my point without people thinking I'm knocking the other party.
Right.
Right? So I couldn't imagine it. I would pay you not to do it.
But that's a great point, because even what we're passionate about, we
Yes.
tend to get exhausted and tired if we're doing
Sure.
for so long. It gets to a point that we need a little shift, a little change. So, you know, if you're a singer and you're singing your entire life, I'm sure when you're in your 80s, your 70s, you're a bit tired. Do you really want to go to a concert with 20,000
I don't
people
think it's
and
success
sing?
anymore. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
At
It's
that
a
point, it's
job.
survival. It's a job.
I don't want to be critical, but I want to be able to make my point, right?
Right.
And so can I assess what I think is success or what they're doing? So in my assessment, listen, buddy, you're not successful. You're not. Wait a minute, you want me to pay you to sing for me again? Like, what do you, like, stop. Go do something else.
Right.
And so for me, the most successful people in their lives have evolved. They've evolved. They've done something for a period of time, then they moved on to something else. You know how many people get very upset with me in particular because I don't want to have small business conversations? They don't get it. What do you mean? Who do you think you are? You know, I'm like, buddy, I sold glasses in 1987.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and sell you a pair of glasses. Go to the mall. Okay. That's not what I do. Okay. I didn't go a whole career in my life. I didn't become a senator. I didn't spend 20 plus years in the military. I didn't, you know, build $1 billion company. I didn't do all this stuff. Okay. For me to go sit somewhere and sell you glasses. That's not what I do. Now, for those people that do that, congratulations. You've successfully not worked for someone else, and you've put a program together that will bring in income to where you're not, answering to anyone, and you'll be very successful. And my brother, who I love, and I often, always actually bring up, he's one of the most successful small business people I know. but he made money to, get his house, get his cars, go to Italy. That's him. I'm broke every day because I'm trying to be a billionaire.
Right.
Right? Since I was going to stop at 55, I'm like, I think I can be
Right.
a billionaire. There's a lot of billionaires now.
Right.
It used to be only 3 or 4. I'm like, no, I think I can get there.
You can get
But
there.
I have to have a vehicle to invest in to get there, right? You can't just get the B with my little optical shop.
Right.
So I have to understand, what am I willing to undertake? And,
like
am I
that.
going to get there in real estate? Am I going to get there in some technology that I invest in? Am I going to get there with some energy business? How am I going to get there, or a combination thereof? And okay, that's my plan, and that's what I want to do right now. And I feel good. And frankly, I think the health discussion has changed dramatically in this country. So yeah, I feel pretty good. I'm like, okay, I like going to the gym. I'll get better. I think people are making parts soon. I'll probably have a couple extra hearts in my trunk. Hurry up, but whatever. So I'm like, all right, maybe this is going to go on for a while. So let's calm down. I'll work, but what do I want to do? And I just had this discussion with my family maybe a couple of weeks ago. I said, as much as I love hearing people's entrepreneurial stories and their, especially founders, they have vision and they want to. I'm very fortunate. I don't have to ask for deal flow. There's a lot of things that come to me,
Right.
and especially now, once I started Palm Beach Equity Partners, our brand is amazing. So I get amazing opportunities, but I can't do everything, right? You can't invest in everything.
Absolutely. not.
So I pick and choose or whatever, but I really think I'm comfortable making 4 decisions a year. That's what I want to do. So the system I incorporated is we review new opportunities once a week. We'll look at 4 and we'll pick one to advance for the month. Then after the 4 of the month for the 4 weeks, we'll pick one for that month. And that'll go on for the quarter. And then every quarter out of the 3 that make it, we pick one. That's it. Now, you can't get mad at me if I didn't pick you because I'm picking one.
True.
That's it. I think, based on the experience of my personal experience anyway, that's the right thing, right? For me.
You do.
That's so here's where, again, I say this with a smile because I am not a negative person, but I feel I should be able to give a little bit of a jab of what I see that I don't think makes sense. So if you see guys who or women that are, always on your social media feed, right? And you know who they are. I'm not going to bring
we
them
see that
all
all
up.
the time.
Okay? It's, oh yeah, I mean $500 million. I mean $200 million. I mean $100 million. I'm a billionaire. I don't know. But then they're peddling things. I'm like, what? What? Does that make any sense to you? Do you know any billionaires who are peddling things? Oh yeah. I'll be a coach, or I'll be I'll buy my shirts, or join my wine club, or do like what are you talking about?
Selling themselves.
It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous, right? Like to me, it's like, all right, I don't think you're the guy you think you're saying you are. You're not. Trust me, I lost a lot of money. I know how it works.
Right.
Okay. So I'm like, wait a minute. This person's still peddling stuff. There's something weird. Okay.
It's true.
There's something weird.
If you're overly selling yourself,
And it just
clearly
makes
there's something
sense,
wrong.
right? Now I get a lot of multi-level marketing stuff and all that kind of thing, but that's basically the system. But I'm talking about true, voices, let's say, who other people admire, and they're constantly doing 30-second ads and peddling. And I use that word on purpose because that's what they're doing. And to me, it's a little weird. Even now, like I love watching that young gentleman, James, with the School of Hard Knocks, and he does he goes up to people. He
I'm
says,
familiar with him.
yeah, how'd you make your money? Right. And he does these things and they're cool. it was very cool when I first saw it. And a month later, it was still cool. And 4 months later, I'm like, brother, the guy in the Lamborghini, he doesn't have crap. The guy you want to find has a Honda Pilot.
Yes.
Okay? Because if listen, my office is on Worth Avenue in Palm Beach. Okay? So I know that there's no Lamborghinis. Okay? That's not where everybody's coming.
And you know what's funny? That
You know what I mean? The visitors, maybe.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know what I've noticed? That the less people actually have, like they brag, okay, I want to look like a millionaire. The ones that are showing off more,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually trying to show off what they have in a materialistic level. They usually don't have that much. The ones that have, they don't have the need to show off so much, to
100%.
to brag so much about what they actually have.
And the thing is, again, I think if you follow along, and I do think age plays into it also. Listen, when I first hit it, don't get me wrong, I loved buying my toys and the mansions and all that stuff. But what I'm saying is, once you've already done it, it's kind of like, why you keep doing it, or why, or. But again, everybody's different, and this is just, my particular journey, right? So I told you, if I am a believer, if I've already done it, I'm not going to do it again.
You can do it, but you can have something because you really like it, you really enjoy it.
Yes.
Not to portray or show off whatever it is to others. If you have something, it's because you really enjoy it. You're enjoying it. You like it.
Absolutely.
It's a bit different than just trying to show off and portray something you're not. You have it because you're entitled to, right?
Well, So my point of that program was, I just think that and I've seen him do it a few times, so I'll give him credit on this. He has a good eye for who's who, and I'm sure some of it's a little bit, what do they call it, program type of thing, whatever, but produced. However, I would think you can really find the stories and the real billionaires. First of all, they're not going to really talk too much, and they're going to tell you a few things. And again, there's just various dialogues. See, for me, you need a team. So the team is, made up of different things. And again, as a father of 5, I tell my kids, you better not all buy the same thing. Like, it's crazy. One of you guys get the ski house, one of you guys get the beach house, one of you guys get the thing in Italy, one of you gets the boat, somebody else gets the bus.
Things.
Like, don't be all getting the same thing. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
That makes sense.
But I think the point though that I really want to get across to people is, you don't think everybody else has, like, you shouldn't want to be that person. You should try and just find out, okay, if you like the level of wealth they've achieved and you believe it, because I'm at the point in my life, I've seen it where I don't believe it. Okay. So that's just a little different. Okay. If I see somebody who has, 20 houses, they are broke. Okay. If I see somebody with, 11 cars, they are broke.
Okay.
Okay. Property tax bills are due. So everybody's due. So you can't sustain it.
That's true.
So I get prouder of myself when I'm able to tell a more humble statement. So, as I've journeyed through various homes and so forth, I made a decision recently to, I renovated something and whatever, and okay, I'm going to lease it out, or I might sell it. I'm not sure. I just got a place that costs half the price of my place. I feel super intelligent.
Yes.
Like I feel
like it.
And I'm like super excited. It's the same size as my house.
Okay.
But it's one floor. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get older. Right? I want one floor. And my mother's 86, right? I don't want to climb in stairs. My dog doesn't like to climb stairs anymore.
Downsizing.
But it's like, no, but I'm overlooking. And and by the way, who built this joint? Oh, and in a couple of years, it'll be worth 3 times what I just paid. No problem. Because anybody paying attention to West Palm Beach and
That's a
Palm Beach
smarter
County
approach.
knows what's going on.
Yes.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm totally doing this. But that is an opposite move. But it's not that I didn't go, um, make sure of my options, because it's a buyer's market right now. So I went ahead and I looked at the big stuff too.
Right.
I'm like, all right, maybe I want to do this, that. But then I was like, you know what? Nah, I got to follow my rules. And my rules are buy unique things. So I bought unique properties. I bought a few things that, I'm like, okay, I'll take the dock on this one. I'll do this over here. I'll do that over there. There's things that, is going to be in the package. It benefits my partners. And we continue to build a portfolio that makes sense. And I'm also very much a big believer of the fact that generations are not taking over for their parents in so many businesses, that cash flow, that if you can get that laundromat, that, like I said, just a bunch of different businesses that you can see the cash, invest in that, invest in the basics, As excited as I get about technology,
Yes.
I get more excited about the basics. So excited.
You
It's a little
definitely,
bit simpler to manage for sure.
Yeah.
you definitely bring different perspectives about, like the simplicity. You're doing unique things, not doing what everyone is doing, making, wiser decisions by approaching something that's unique. So I've never thought about that. So I,
I later in life, my early 40s, I went to through the advanced management program at Wharton, and there were 60 people in my class. Literally the best experience I ever had educationally, because I was one of only 14 Americans. The rest were from all over the world. And to this day, we broke down into groups of 10. And to this day, even last night, whose birthday was it? Jim's birthday. Next thing you know, Abdullah is saying, happy birthday, Jim. And Gary's
Yes.
going, happy birthday, Jim. And Alan's, happy birthday, Jim. Like everybody. So from our group, we still have our WhatsApp chat group. And what I realized there was that, the world, we all are looking to see how can we learn from points that will stay with us forever. So in other words, in the classroom that day, whatever that day was, they bring in an expert per day, right? It says, okay, this is what I'm going to teach you today, and this is what I'm going to teach you tomorrow, and this is what I'm going to teach. But it's long days. These are 12-hour days minimum, 15 hours. It was incredible. But you're there, and I remember they showed a video. One of these motivational speakers, Tom Peters was his name, and he, and again, I'm going to paraphrase. I'm going to remember everything from years ago. But he said, what is, Walmart and Starbucks and Motel 8 and, Amazon and whatever, what do they have in common? And the answer was nothing.
wow, nothing.
And that's what I love, because again, I do joke around sometimes. I like, listen, I have no hair, no muscles. If I was worried about that, I know I wouldn't be with anybody.
Right.
In other words, you have to have your own thing. There's something
What sets you
about
apart,
you
right?
that somebody's going to be attracted to.
Too.
So in business, the service, the products. I'll tell you a very brief story. I remember being in college as my brother started an optical business. Our last name's Feroce, so it was Ferocious Eyes Optical. I actually named it. We were picking names, and at the time, Betty Davis Eyes was like a #1 song in the country. And there was a line in there. It's like, she's ferocious, and that was our last name. And I'm like, all right, Ferocious Eyes. So
I actually love that song.
we opened
Yeah.
Ferocious Eyes Optical. Kim Carnes was the singer. And so my mother was she was in the business, and it's me, my mom, my brother. And one of my friends from school, because I was still at the University of Rhode Island at the time, And I said, "Oh, you need glasses? Let's go get them
Yeah.
from my brother Tony." I said, "Oh no, we don't. We have our own guy, you know." Yeah. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh no, we go to this guy," and he named some guy in Providence. And I'm like, "All right, whatever. You know, you should be giving my brother business, but it's okay."
Right.
Right. So sure enough, about 2 months later, here's a guy in there who very successful, happens to be my friend's father, very successful businessman. And he was toned down. He drives a truck, always cash, and he's buying two of the most expensive pair of glasses that my brother sold. And my brother sold high-end eyewear.
Okay.
And here he is. He's buying, $1,000 glasses back in 1987, like crazy,
Wow. Yeah.
cash. And I just thought to myself, yeah, see, because my brother is one of 200 master opticians in the United States out of 30,000.
Oh, that's incredible.
So, but that's what that guy's paying for.
Mm.
See, that's what he's paying for.
That's
It's
what
that
sets your brother apart.
uniqueness.
The uniqueness.
He's not some kid at Vision World at the mall.
Right.
So it's two different things. So the advice or how he's going to make them or he's going to fit, which is probably the most important part, is going to separate him. I'll give you $1,000 for that.
And this is great wisdom for the next generation. Just be unique. Be
Mhm.
your own self, right? Bring your own value
100%. You have to.
into the world. Because I think that's how you set yourself apart and how you succeed. Because I think what's happening right now in the world, we're all trying to do the same thing, right? Where if everyone is posting something, you feel that you have to do the same. If everyone
Mhm.
takes an approach to their business, you feel that that's the right approach to take. People present themselves in a certain way. You think you have to present yourself in the same way. And all of that, it's cool and all, but what's setting you apart? What's making you really unique as you move forward?
It's actually those that don't recognize that, they're hurting the business. When I had success as CEO of a company, I'll never forget toward the end, I don't know, they wanted me to switch to an ad agency in New York. And I walked in and, I'm a little bit unique because I'm an Army infantry officer and a civil affairs after that. And, I'm in fashion and I didn't really kind of fit what they
Right.
expected. And at the time, I walk into this place and it's probably 95% women. And I walk in and they're showing me these commercials and they're telling me I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm running the second fastest growing company in the United States of America. And they're telling me I don't know what I'm doing. That's how they started the meeting. Okay. Well,
That's a good sign.
they're gonna fix me.
Okay. I like that.
And they proceed to show me commercials of two women holding hands running through a field.
Okay.
And and everybody's looking at me because they know I'm gonna like blow them up in about 2 seconds. My people that were there.
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, what is this?" No, what do you mean? That's the way everybody's doing it now. I go, what? What are they doing? I don't know. Well, yours is too. It's not. Look how this is made. Look at the quality. Look at the production quality. Look at the photography. Look at me. I'm just I have raw shots of someone handing Beyonce a bracelet at whatever center in PNC Center in New Jersey. Authentic. That's my commercial. No, they want it like whatever. And what they don't understand is what's going through my head. Well, what's going through my head is, first of all, I don't know two women who hold hands and run through fields. That's number one. I've never seen it in my life. Okay. Maybe it happened one time. I don't know.
Right.
But they're showing that commercial. And it could have been for Free People at the time or Gap or whatever. It's always the same. And back when we had physical magazines, I used to travel a lot, so I used to open them, especially in the 90s and so forth, and the 2000s, I should say, whatever. I'm going through, and there was, let's say Men's Health or whatever it was that I would read, and Inc. magazine, all these different magazines.
Right.
And there would be, a guy holding a kid on a boat. And then, on this page, And that was for Hugo Boss. And then, 7 pages later, there's a guy sitting with, on a raft with another kid, whatever. And that's Nautica.
Right.
And then 9 pages later, it's whatever, and that's Armani. And I'm like, all right, it's all the same stuff. Like, nobody
They're all having the
gets
same
it.
approach.
And what did I do? I used military psyops that I learned in my military career, understanding how we would go into and take over and condition a populace
Right.
so that they don't hate us and they love us. And that's what I made, a system that we then made commercials based on. But no, I'm going to go into a meeting and you're going to fix me. And that's what I think is so odd.
And what was your response to that?
Well, we unfortunately, within a matter of maybe weeks, because I would never do anything that they
Right.
suggested or recommended, I ultimately departed the company. But it was also in a time of, everyone was trying to elevate, things based on gender and all kinds. It was just a lot of nuttiness, even though I built a company from literally 23 employees to like 1,200 with 94% women. 13 of my 16 executives were women. But yet they wanted to, it's such a goofy world sometimes when people just want to follow along. But I think what's more important is to give you this example. I had someone who had a friend who was a singer. And this is right at the time American Idol was kicking off. And I had invested in a music studio back in 2005 in DC. So I had a studio.
Right.
And this guy was starting to, he was very talented. And so his buddy says, "Oh, you got to meet this guy. You got to meet this guy." And I'll leave names out, but he ended up being a very famous guy. So, but he, they come to my house, I meet him, whatever. And then they want me to meet him down near the university they were at. And the guy says, yeah, come with me, his manager. I said, all right, what's that? I go in his car, and he's like, let me tell you why Jay-Z and, P. Diddy don't know what they're doing. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, yes.
You are literally going to say to me the most successful people in the field that you are in don't know what they're doing. That's how you are opening your line. So at that point, you've lost all credibility with me. Instead of saying, hey, I have something that can make this industry better,
Yes.
or I have a capability or a product or an angle
Right.
that we should bring before these very successful people or get them to see things differently. But not tell me they don't know what they're doing. No. And that's, I think, the reason you have shows like Shark Tank. You have people go on there who say, oh, where have you sold this? Oh, all over the world. Everybody wants this. I sell in 39 countries. I do this.
Yes.
Then why are you here? And you don't have any cash?
Yep.
I know.
Complete insanity.
That's insane. Yeah.
Insane. So, do you want to hear a little story about that for a second?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course,
Okay.
yes.
So, people wouldn't know this, but back, whatever, and then always about 2015 or so, 16. So CNBC was successful at the time. I believe it was CNBC. Yeah, they had The Prophet, and they had all these shows. They needed someone to come after The Prophet. And so I was reached out to by a production company. I said, hey, listen, we want to make a program with you. I said, okay, So they said, well, is it cool? We're going to come to your mansion in Newport. We're going to do this,
Right.
this video. Boy, I'm going to give you some behind the scenes stuff tonight. This is going to be funny. because there's raw footage out there of me saying, you know, who can't come here? Kanye and Kardashian. I go, this is my party. And this place is called You Can't Come Here.
You can't come here.
No, and that's what people don't understand. Like,
Right.
I'm unique like that. Everybody else wants to do what everybody else is doing. No, I'm the opposite.
Yes.
I'm the complete opposite. If everybody else is doing it, I'm not doing it.
And that's great.
And so,
That's very powerful.
but anyway, well, they did the footage. They ended up making a video. It was called a sizzle video.
Oh.
And it's out there. It's so funny. It's called a fixer. So they had this thing called a fixer. They made this video thing. And people didn't understand that it was produced for consideration of a show. So it's produced, right? So it's like, hey, Giovanni, can you do that again, but this time be meaner? You know, like, what? Can you be a little bit more military? I'm like, all right, fine. You know, and I'm just, so whatever it was, right? They make this little video. But I told them, I said, you know, that's not what I would do. I would do a show where it's called All In. So what do you mean? I said, well, you call me with your idea, with what you want to do, and I'll review it. And if I agree with you, then go ahead, empty your 401k, convince your husband or your wife to sell your house,
Right.
put everything in, and I'll match it. But only after I've assessed it and told you it's great. Otherwise, do not do it. So the program would have been 99 out of 100 times me saying, don't do it.
Right.
Save your cash.
Right.
Do not do it.
Well, and that makes sense because there are very specific business opportunities in life,
Mm-hmm.
or I wouldn't call it business opportunities. I would call an idea that you know that if you have a really good, strong business plan, could get you to a different place, but it's very unique.
Right.
Most of the time, people want to go into a business venture just because they like the industry, and that's without a solid, proven business plan, it's going to be a little challenging to get there.
And for most people, success, if achieved, will only be small business.
Right.
So it's not investable. It's only replacing you not wanting to go work somewhere else.
I actually have.
So my money's not going to do anything.
Yep.
You know, and
Abs-
you were saying something. Go ahead.
No, you know, related to what you're saying about, you know, making decisions and I remember you said that you make decisions 4 times a year, something. I know in private equity you have to be, you know, a little tough and you know, on making decisions and
Sure.
saying yes and things like that. How do you approach that while still maintaining your, you know, the human aspect of things?
You know, it's not easy because the audience, right? So the people
Yes.
bringing you the opportunity have to hear things
That are not pleasant.
that are absolutely not pleasant. But more importantly, it's really about honesty. Because everyone has a different profile.
True.
And so the real question is, do you want to work with these people? Which is then true of me, right? So in other words, do you want to work with me? So I've had people who've completely disappeared after 30 minutes. I used to do free consultation. Now, when I had my consulting company, which is what I did before I transitioned to my firm.
Were you that mean?
You know what it was? I was just brutally
Yeah.
honest
Yes.
because I don't, you know, if I ran into this wall head first, right, and I have a big scar to prove it, why do you want me to watch you run into that wall when I can stop you?
True.
But now that you're asking me to invest, so you want to hear what I say? So
Yes.
the bottom line is this: say, listen, this is who we are, okay? So what Palm Beach Equity Partners is number one is I don't park cash. So I will never call anybody up and say, hey, I'm raising a fund or I have some money here and
Right.
I'm going to park cash somewhere. Every phone call I make is an emergency phone call. It's I need money now. Otherwise, we don't need it. So you know when I'm calling you, if you're one of my partners, I need cash. That's it. Now, why? because we've assessed the opportunity. So it's the same thing as, a typical programmatic private equity firm that has a capital call, but mine's different because this is where it differentiates. You can come in and you can ask for whatever raise and tell me why and give me your deck and all of that. And this is where, again, people will review what I say next and either say, oh, who does he think he is? Or they can listen to it 5 times and then say, wow, that's genius, which is this. I don't care what you tell me you need. It's what I tell you need. Now, why? Well, for the most part, there's many times youth is involved, right? So there's such a lack of experience, networking, cash that went out the door that was just used for salaries because people didn't want to, have the nighttime security gig while they're trying to find whatever, right? They're not doing it. They just convinced a bunch of people to put $2 million in and they burned through the cash, right? It's the typical story. So it's not what you say you need, but more importantly, it's when I assess it based on what Palm Beach Equity Partners relationships are, is the price I'm going to get to accomplish that mission. You might be working on 5 things for me. So when I come to you and I say, hey, take a look at this. What can we do here? You may say, I can do this for 82 grand. Well, they're trying to raise 700,000 for the same thing because we've already worked together for 4 years and you've already made 600,000 off me. Right? And I know that, no, you're my de facto XYZ, whatever. So you're my subject matter expert. So that's key, is I only use subject matter experts. And I've always been that way. So even, when I talked about my brother being a small businessman and I was not, it's because, I opened stores across the country. So, you think I worked in the store? I don't work in the store. I don't know. So it can't be built that way. So if I partner with the best lab in the world for whatever lenses that have the best anti-reflective coating in the world, yeah, that might be double the price of whatever so-and-so gets them for, buying them in Staten Island. And I'm getting them from Varilux in Dallas, or Essilor Labs or whatever, but I'm making a relationship that can support the 150 stores I'm opening.
That makes sense.
So everything I'm doing is different. Well, this is the issue. I don't want to be in small business. So what's that mean? Well, that means whatever we do has to be huge. So then how can it be huge if you want me to A, use your engineers, because that's not going to happen. B, I don't want to build a company. Matter of fact, I think, and this is going to be hopefully my next big accomplishment, but it shouldn't happen. So I'm telling you something new that should not happen. So if I'm able to do it, maybe I get my B on this move. And that is, I'm heavily invested in some apps. I don't believe we need users, meaning I have to get the users. So since I think you're going to acquire me, Meta, Snap companies, IAC, whoever it is, why do you want me to go blow $2, $3, $5, $10 million to get users? What does that mean when you want to buy what you already have? You already have me. You already have me on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. You already have me.
Right.
So just tell you what, I built it. I'm going to sell it to you with 0 liabilities, 0 employees, 0 users, all the IP in the world, amazing technology. I'll throw it out there right now. Connect Here, my #1 investment, Connect Here. The Connect Here app, it connects people only in the same place. It's done. I'm going to auction it. I'm going to put a date. Right now, it's probably going to be end of February. And whoever gives me the best offer, we'll get it. And so, but let's say over the course of the last 3 months, speaking to professionals in the industry, you're obviously going to get 90% of them look at me and say, oh, what are you talking about? How many users? You probably don't even get past the first phone call. Say, no, and I won't name names. Okay, no, reread what I just texted you. Why do you want me to go blow money right here when you already have them? Like, it makes no sense. You want me to make T-shirts? Want me to hand out T-shirts? Get 7 people to download it? Like, just stop.
Right.
Why? Because it's not 2012. That has already been done. So people are transacting falsely now. So the whole premise is wrong. The foundation is wrong. So to highlight it, I believe that if Palm Beach Equity Partners becomes the place where you buy the world's best apps, completely clean, done, I would have already built them. Don't worry about it. I used our cash. We built it. We took the chance. We built everything out. And now you just come to us, and every quarter we sell one. That's it. That's what I think is going to be the new way. And so the Silicon Valley of the past, the days of, venture capital coming in, those days are done.
Right.
They're done. And so, but am I too early? Am I saying something people don't understand? Hopefully.
Probably.
I just have to stick to my program.
Yeah, moving with your uniqueness and the vision you see and you're going for it. It may not align with everyone else right now,
No,
but it's
yeah.
your vision. It's so you should continue and follow through.
Because what are you going to buy my company and lay off half the people because you already have them?
And everything is evolving and changing, right? The process is changing.
Right.
And everything. So following the same process, taking the same approach would probably not be a wise idea right now. So I truly believe that you are
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm
towards
excited
the
about
right
it.
approach.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I am super excited about it. I mentioned one. There'll be more, hopefully, in the future when we speak again. But you see the founders behind it. They have the idea. But now let's close the loop. So you're a founder. You come to me. Who's going to say yes? You know who's going to say yes? Whoever actually studied and knows me and knows my profile and doesn't just come to me like I'm somebody else who's going to give them a check. So if you were just looking for a check, I'm not your guy. There's nothing. Why would I give you money? It makes no sense to me. You're bringing your project, whatever vision you have. Chances are that because you're doing this, you haven't thought it through. So, but if you're willing to do that, then we have our profile is we have a formula. We take a certain, I want to keep some proprietary, but we have a formula of how we engage. So if we take it on, bottom line is, don't worry about it. You never spend another dime. Okay? But the chances of you being successful are super high. But now I will tell you the things that are frustrating. So I do get frustrated.
Okay.
That's amazing.
It
means that you're a human.
I get frustrated with founders. I get super frustrated.
What frustrates you the most when it comes to
Time.
founders?
They need cash, right? Because they spend all their cash. That's why they go on Shark Tank, right?
True.
So they don't understand that to be real, to be big, to be huge takes time. And so for me, I have to prepare the dialogue. And so for me to prepare that dialogue, I also means that I have to navigate. So anybody in business last year who didn't get to July or August and shift or pivot their whole business, if they're technology based, and pause, I'd be scared to death because the introduction of AI should have made you pause. The evolution of AI should make you pause. My book, which I think will be the catalyst of positioning Palm Beach Equity Partners and myself as the future in this space and how I do things, and I'm very excited about it. It's called The Missing Link: Why AI Can't Be Me.
Wow.
And it actually fits perfectly.
I didn't know about the book.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
That's
I'll send you a
exciting.
couple of the first chapter and so forth to
Okay.
see.
Okay. I'd love
But
to hear about it.
you'll understand it's perfect for this forum. And I congratulate you for this because it is about authenticity. You know, I told you things tonight that AI would never know. How's AI going to know about my mom?
Yeah,
Right.
that's your story and your human experience.
AI has no soul. So
I like that.
my book emphasizes to the great minds of our day, to include young guys like Alexander Wang, to the Elon Musk of the world and the Zuckerbergs and
Right.
all of them, all these guys, right? They're missing me.
Can't replace you.
You can have the highest payroll in football. If you don't have the best quarterback, it's over.
It's over.
Okay. And what I'm saying is, depending on the style of play, depending on it, you need the right piece. And I'm telling all of them right now, if you think I trust AI for a response, you're out of your mind. The only thing I use AI for is to type faster than I do.
That can be helpful. That can be helpful.
That's it. And this also goes back to, you know, I have my daughters who go to college, and you know, they also work with me at Palm Beach Equity Partners. There,
Oh.
I told them someday they can be Employee of the Year if they beat me, but we'll see.
Nice.
So I've won every year so far. So
Oh, that's
it's a
really exciting to have,
but
you know,
yeah, they're
your kids
awesome.
working with you
Oh, it's
and
phenomenal.
learning from you too. It's
But I also see what they bring to the table because
their value.
people love the interaction and to see. And that goes back to credibility and honesty and family. I have a guy recently, you know, I don't want to get too far up, but he's like, the way you interact with your daughters, and like they see that.
I could see the way you interacted with your you know, your kids.
Thank you.
There.
But that's like, that's real, right? It's like, okay, now you understand that I'm not looking for a yacht and this. I'm like, no, I want to get the yacht anyway. I'm on yachts all the time. Like, who cares?
Right.
Like, that's all the time.
Those are
like,
just materialistic things,
yeah, and
and
you can incorporate them in the business.
yeah,
We
you
incorporate
can
them in the
have
business.
all of that, but there's more to that in life than everything materialistic that we cannot.
Yeah. And Giovanni, as I've been hearing a lot of your very engaging story, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I've been trying to figure out, so I'll ask in the form of a question, but I think I figure it out. What would you say that is your superpower, both personally and business, because I think they overlap, that has made you as successful, and again, personal and business, because I think personal success, that feeling of accomplishment, is not just the business side, it can be the personal side.
Mm-hmm.
And like Clara said, we definitely see that with you and your concept of family. So what do you think that superpower is, or have you thought about that before?
I share this statement a lot. I tell people this, and it really, you know, first came to me when I was in basic training in the Army. And it was about 105 degrees out, and I was next to a tree in the middle of the woods in Georgia. And I would see people quit. And I thought to myself, there's no way I'm going home and my dad's going to see that I quit. And so I came up with a line, which was, I'm not better than anybody else, but nobody's better than me. And that is what guides me.
What a powerful statement.
So no matter the situation, I think that through
Mhm.
over and over and over again. So that's why I said, like, if I'm in true story, I'm being at a business meeting, top floor, the biggest financial institution in the world and the whole thing, I have these guys asking me, what's your net zero score or whatever nonsense. And I'm thinking, there's no way. There's no way you know more than I do. It's impossible. Don't get me wrong. I'm very proud, right? My son goes to Princeton. He's sitting out there. Like, I get it. But if you were to challenge me in business, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way. Now, but he will beat me because I can see the trajectory.
Right.
But and when I say beat me, in what aspect, right? Depends what you're trying to accomplish. But that has been my thing, right? So even through family struggles and business struggles and political struggles or the pandemic, it doesn't matter what it is. My superpower is I do not panic. And I believe that I can do anything that any other human being can do that doesn't require talent. So in other words, like a physical talent, if you were an athlete or
Going back
a
to
dancer or something like that.
back to your uniqueness.
Yes.
Not panicking is it's very unique, because if you have the ability to not panic throughout any life circumstances, whatever it is, either it's family, business, health, then you're most likely in the right path to succeeding. Because when we panic, that's when everything becomes convoluted and confusing, and nothing gets resolved. Nothing falls into place when we are
you can't panic.
In a state of panic.
You can't. And that's the thing, right? But everybody has a role.
I have to learn with you. I do.
But it depends. But it depends, right? So but no, in other words, everybody has a role.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, we always tell family stories, obviously, within our own family and friends and stuff. And it's like my mother, she has at points of her life, needed to go to the hospital, whatever it is, and she wants Giovanni. It's the bottom line. And what do I do when I get there? I say, you're sick, right? I said, yeah. I said, okay, great. Because this is the place you want to be when you're sick. They have doctors, nurses, machines. But I got to go. We have meetings at 2:00 tomorrow, so hurry up. She's like, within days, we're out of the hospital. And you might think I'm crazy. I'm dead serious. That's happened twice.
Wow.
Twice. Because I am 100% a believer that the mind is the most powerful thing.
That's true.
It will fix everything else. But but again, you have to you can't just say, I believe. You have to believe and also be smart. And I'll be religious for a moment here because it's super important for me.
You're welcome to.
And
all
okay,
believers.
good. Because I think my children have gone through a phase the last few years to really, their eyes have opened when I emphasize a few things. There's a gentleman who used to, challenge other people on religious theories and other things. And I kind of listened to it and I'm like, yeah, this totally makes sense. Yeah. I mean, you both are smart. You don't have to answer this. I'm going to say rhetorical statements here, but for anybody out there, right? Do you really think, well, before I go there, I'm going to use a little bit of what he said. Okay. Especially since I was in the eye care business also. Your eye is complex, right? The white part's a sclera, the colored part's the iris, you have a pupil, you have your cornea, you have the whole thing, right? Your retina, whole 9 yards.
Yes.
Someone designed that. For every design, there's a designer. Mm-hmm. Now, do you really think two rocks smashed together and made a peacock?
No. I
don't. Who sounds stupid? You know what I mean? Who sounds stupid? Right? So people want to say, oh, science, related. No, you sound weird. If you really think that two rocks smashed together and made an elephant, there's something wrong with it. Me, I think there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
I can't take you serious. Now, I don't know all the details of everything, but I'm pretty sure that makes sense. that for every design, there's a designer. Okay. So as I go through life and as I approach, these years of like where I feel super, super comfortable in navigating life. And the reason I don't panic is that I feel like, okay, if you pray, which
Faith.
my mother, I say, Ma, you believe everything you do every day? She says, yeah. Then why are you nervous? Just pray. That's, you can't have it one way. Like it's, if you believe this, then this is the outcome. If you believe, like, you got to do one or the other. You can't have both ways, right? So that's why I'm going to weave it back to business for a second. When someone says, oh, I want to do this, how is it going to be $1 billion company? Like, I don't get it. Right? So, oh, well, yeah, I'm not interested in selling your 50 handbags. It's not going to work. Okay. I'm not interested in doing this other thing.
Right.
Now, if you want to put it as part of a brand and you understand brand value and you understand that Hostess sold for $800 million 2 years after they stopped making anything, then I'm all with you. Okay. And let's go. So it's about being realistic. But the panic part, I think, goes back to leadership. And you have to become a leader. And you have to show me, what did you do to be a leader? So that's why, I don't hire resumes and all that stuff.
Right.
I hire people. So, I'm proud to have served my country, whatever. Tommy's in the Army. Connor's not, but Connor's an Eagle Scout. Oh, that took dedication. When he raised his first cash for his business, and, I'm very proud of my son. He's Forbes 30 under 30 and all that.
Wow.
He
That's
used his,
impressive.
thank
We
you,
should
but
learn more about that.
he called his Eagle Scout network to raise capital. Like, there's some quality in you.
We should have him for the. We're going to host a series of
Yes.
I believe 5 to 10 episodes with the opposite, the younger generation.
Oh,
So I think he would be a great candidate for it.
But the only time I yell at Connor is when that he works too much.
Right.
No, he does. He works way too much. And I say to him, like, you got to calm down, like, but don't get me wrong. I'd rather he works too much than not. But I said, this is the thing. Like, it goes back to all the way, at 35 years or whatever. Like,
He wants
then you
to
get
mirror
to
his dad.
But like I said, I'm trying to reduce the decisions, right? I'm trying
Right.
to reduce the time, and that's the thing about today is, I think the most successful people will do a few things excellent. Like, that. Don't worry about doing everything, and I think social media has, like, so caught up people into thinking they have to, like, post every 3 minutes. They have to
Yes.
post everything.
They
It's
have
like,
to show everything.
yeah, and it's
Right.
and I see them now, and I get it, because for some that's actually income now, right, for influencers and so
Yes.
forth.
Yes.
I actually invested in something that I think is gonna be awesome soon in the influencer market.
Oh.
But the thing is, I look at them and I say, okay, do you have a timeline? Because again, then you can end up doing the same thing for 30 years. You're going to be the same. At that point, it's kind of like a joke. Like, are you going to, like, how many times can you do the same thing?
True.
But I don't want to come across where it's for everybody. Okay. In other words, I don't know why I'm built the way I'm built. I don't know. My mother still thinks I should go get a job. You know what I mean? Because that's what they know. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're like, all right,
That's pretty
I
funny.
just want to see you settled.
But you can't settle. You're
But-
so full of life. You want more.
It's just fun. That the successes that other people would deem successes, she gets it. But, like, to her, it's like, because we grew up in certain a certain place, New England, you grew up
Right.
in Rhode Island, you're successful if you have a state job.
Oh, so she's still
I'm like, what?
she's in her 80s, so she still has that mindset.
It's, but at the same time, how do you get along with everyone? By letting them know it's okay that you do that job. Like, that's great. But just don't knock me for having whatever I have because I didn't do that. And here's where I need to talk about my father more too,
Right.
because I talked so much about my mother. But I'm actually going to start with something that was funny, but negative, but kind of funny. I remember he wanted me to do something one day or whatever it was. And I said, listen, I don't do what you do. You know how easy it is to do what you do? You think I couldn't go punch a clock at 7 a.m. and leave at 4 o'clock and come home and pop a beer and go play bocce? Like, I got to figure out how to pay insurance on Saturday. Like, I gotta figure out how to come up with first and last. And I just hired 3 people. I don't even know how I'm gonna get the optical chair for $16,000. Like, what are you talking about? Having a job is easy. Like, that's the easy part, right? Like, that's and that's where you think there's a conflict, but there shouldn't be if people had respect for one another. I'll have respect for you who has a job, but have respect for me who is in business.
True.
And that's where, the real dilemma for this century is, for this decade, is the wealth discussion. People just want to separate based on wealth and based on everything else. And it's discouraging because as someone who created a lot of charity, there were calculations for the business I ran that gave over $50 million to charity. And you know how many people remember?
None.
Nobody remembers. They don't care. Okay? And the worst part is, in this day and age, people, they expect you to do it. And if you don't do it, like, they'll look at you like, oh, you're not going to do this, when you don't even care.
There's only value on what you can provide, what you can give. So if you don't, then you're suddenly you lack value as a human being. Like,
Yeah,
who are you?
Yeah. Now, see, I want to give to charity that's systemic. You have to show me what you're impacting, like, systemically, not to fill the gap of somebody that's not stepping up to do whatever they were supposed to do. So
Right.
I'll give you, for me, I finally put our foundation together, and kind of a semi-announce it, I guess, right now. It's called the Feroce Foundation,
Okay.
and it will deal with executive suicides.
Wow,
So
that it's going to make a huge impact in society.
yeah.
I love that. This is a topic that we discuss a lot.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever heard about Sean Lesser as well.
The Real
It's
Foundation.
different. He's doing the Real
I have
Foundation, and
not,
he
but
talks
okay.
about walks.
Okay.
And most ambassadors, what they call ambassadors, are executives,
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about mental health.
Yes.
But there's no foundation like yours that's
Yeah, I want to do.
specifically for suicide.
Yes, for executive level management and CEOs in the C-suite. Especially in a sensationalized media world, where the takedown, or if you're having issues in business,
Yes.
and what used to be. Think about how dishonest the following is. Okay, people love to say failure is great. Failure is the best thing ever. Failure. Oh, yeah? Then why is this newspaper and why is this reporter telling people you suck?
I hate that.
Why is this person trying to take down a company? Why is this person trying to attack people who put every penny, every night, every minute, their house, their thing, all into a business, and you're mocking them. And then what happens? People kill
Because
themselves.
you're not
Kill
just
themselves.
you're not just destroying and damaging their reputation, but you're ruining someone's life. Someone that has a family, someone that has, a spouse, kids, someone that has feelings. And the way the media does it, it's it's so impactful in a negative way
It's
that
terrible.
a human can't just handle because you're on your own. And it makes it look like you're suddenly this monster or this person that's so destructive that it's so then you have the entire like society, world, whatever
Yeah,
you want to call against you. And how do you handle life after that?
that's why it's interesting because my sons, they were younger when I went through the lowest point in my life, right? And we were all looking and everyone's like, oh, wow, you're strong, you're strong. And I'm thinking to myself, it goes back to the panic, goes back to thank God I was in the military, thank God I had been through, certain situations. And I'm thinking to myself, well, 99.99999% don't have my background. They're going to go kill themselves.
Yes.
They're going to go kill themselves. And they do. And
They
they
do.
do. And they do. Right? And I vowed to myself, I remember, I think time was maybe in 8th grade or whatever. And I was like, all right, someday we're going to put this foundation together.
Wow.
And I think it'll be also very well funded because, the people that can write the check, it's you're the ones that are going to get impacted.
I have no doubt.
So I'm like, you know what? Put it in, man, and let's build this thing. And I don't need any money or anybody. Like, let's just, make it circle back. But let's give people the knowledge to know we care. There's a place here. We can provide whatever services or so cohorts that you can speak
A
to
safe place
that
to
have,
find
that have gone
support.
through whatever you're
Right.
going through. And and a lot of times also, unfortunately, in society, people want to keep up with the Joneses and stuff. And this goes back to why I feel so comfortable now, or why I think, from a maturity level, when I said, hey, I'm going to be, moving into a house that costs half as much as the one I live in. No, that's what I want to tell them. Like, Dave, dude, that's great, man. Do this. You're going to look smarter. And people are going to want to give you more money because it looks like you're taking care of their money instead of
Right.
blowing it on a Ferrari. So it's like, okay, like be smart in what you're doing and handle it. And, but even because management also these days, they're giving it to fast movers. So, sometimes they're not equipped with the other life experiences to get them through. So, maybe they were hired from an Ivy League or they put into the high, paying job. And you see it in the banking industry all the time. And, you read about these young, people killing themselves all the time in suicide, 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds, but they have a very important position or they're high level, And so, so I'm thinking that is like, for me, what I want to transition to once, hopefully I think as Palm Beach Equity Partners becomes institutional. So that's my goal. That's why I opened it on Worth Avenue. That's why, I told my kids, I don't ever lose this office. I don't care if you have to sell your shoes. Okay.
Right.
I said, this office, this Palm Beach Equity Partners. I named it on purpose. That this what we do. And then, as talent comes in and other people, but I want to keep it on the smaller side. And then I just want to focus on the foundation. And I just want to, everything will be okay. The one thing that you learn in the military, it's you don't use the word all right. The universal word is okay, right? Every language understands it. And so when you say you will be okay, you will be okay, that's the message I want to get across to everybody.
That's one of your sayings.
Yeah, that's
He says
fantastic.
that a lot.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
And it's true. And so if it's a health crisis or if it's a financial crisis, if it's, something unexpected, the reality is you will be okay. But again, for me, faith was super important.
That's
So-
what I was wondering.
2 words. I've been thinking about your superpower. Again, not superpower from like this thing that's supernatural, but more on what specifically contributed the greatest to your success and to who you are. And two things keep coming to my mind. So faith, You mentioned a little bit of religion earlier. So faith in God, of course.
Mhm.
Faith in yourself can really build anything if you don't have that. So,
Right.
and that comes from confidence, from success, and the little wins add up to a huge success too. Faith in your family. So faith in general as a concept. We actually have a power. We call it faith.
It's called faith.
That's
We
great.
don't. But the second thing, the
That's
second thing that I think really has shaped everything for you, at least on my view, is your very unique perspective. So perspective is the word that comes to mind when I think what's unique about Giovanni. Like the most unique thing that I can tell from anyone else is perspective.
Yeah.
And with the foundation, from the way you were describing, it sounds like you would be able to share a little bit of that perspective with people that might need it.
Exactly.
Because sometimes people think, well, how do I think outside the box? This is a indirect reference to the
Mhm.
Matrix, but how do I think outside the box? Maybe there is no box.
Correct. That's
That's
you-
Giovanni.
you've put it together beautifully, because that's the whole point, is who are you to judge what success is? If you've exhausted the effort, right? The level of effort, there's going to be an outcome. Now, you might have aimed for a certain outcome, but different circumstances created a different outcome.
True.
Who is it that could judge, that has the authority or the stature to say you failed? Like, who is that person? That's what I get so upset about.
Do you think this, uniqueness that you bring into your life and your business, do you believe that having faith, as you mentioned, religion, having faith in God plays a huge role
Huge.
on this approach of being so unique on everything you do?
1,000%. For me, and it's interesting because I've seen the uptick across the board. And, again, this is where I will touch on being a father for a moment. I am super excited about this generation, the Generation Z. They have so much faith. I see it.
Yes.
My kids go to church. Their friends go to church with them.
It's changing.
At college, they go to church. My son reads at church.
Wow.
And they're cool. Trust me, my girls don't miss, a beach party if there's one, all right? They're going to go to that too. But they're going to church. My son's going to go to his fraternity. He's going to church. My other son's going to go whatever DJ thing they're doing. He's going to church. It's so awesome to watch. But here's where generationally, I think there's a huge dialogue. I'm Gen X. Gen X is the smallest generation, 1965 to 1980. We either have grandparents or older parents as role models. It's true of me. So baby boomers are 46 to 64. Their kids are millennials. Okay, so now, like anything else, there's a percentage, right? Like I told you. Actually, I'm hopefully going to keep everybody's focus here, because I am going to jump around for a second. I believe in being unique, right?
Yes.
So that means I'm the 1%. But I apply that everywhere, right? So it's not about 1% on the wealth, although
not-
that's a nice one to be part of. But it's a 1%, meaning I'm unique. So if I'm telling my daughters, no, you don't need to dress like that. Be the 1%. You don't want to be the 99%. If I tell my son, don't go to that party, it's you want to be the 1%. You want to be the 99%. If you want to do this and you want to go through Ranger School, which my son has to go through, or infantry officer, that's a 1%, baby. That's not 99% of people aren't doing that. So it makes sense that you're going to, in the eyes of the world, to be part of that 1%. Of course, there's failure along the way because you have to go through processes. And so in some cases, you may have to repeat that until you succeed. So I have a saying that I came up with that I believe is unique, is I believe business people are like athletes. Okay? So now let's tie it back to the foundation. Let's tie it back to the whatever negative person who wants to knock business people and say, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. Imagine if I was next to him, right? And he's trying to go to the Olympics.
Right.
And while he's practicing the whole year before, he's trying to get that extra 1/10 of an inch to go over the bar. And every time he hits the bar, I go, you suck. I'm right, he sucks. He hit the bar yesterday.
Yeah.
He hit the bar last night. He hit the bar this morning. He hit the thing. And I just pounded him with negativity.
Punching him.
And all he's doing is just trying to get that inch or that 1/10 of an inch. And he finally hits it. And now the world goes, yeah. I built $1 billion company. How many $1 billion companies am I supposed to build? Like, what are you, crazy? Like, who cares about like everything else? I already did it. Like, that's what it goes back to. I already did it. Like, but no, now I want the billion for me. I mean, the cash, so I can control where it goes, hopefully, and impact lives, right? So, but the reality is, as business people, you have to decide where you want to be, right? Do you want to be in the 1%? So for me, the faith and everything else goes back to, who's going to church? Who's doing it? Who's doing it? Who's sacrificing? I have something that I really want to do, and someday I hope you read about it. That is very, it's based on, again, I'm Roman Catholic, and it's something I'm going to do. And you're going to be like, holy smokes, he's doing that? And when I do that, it's going to be like, yeah, but why am I going to do that? Because I think I can do that. And I was meant to do that. And I wanted to show the world it's not all about this. I'm going to show you with zero what to do. Because I believe that, again, to be complete, you don't repeat what you've already done. You need the next piece of the puzzle.
Otherwise, you don't have
There's
the
not two
missing
pieces of the puzzle.
parts.
We're making a puzzle, right? Life.
And how can you be complete with all the missing
You're
parts?
going to pile up the same piece. It doesn't make any sense.
And as humans, we tend to, persist and on the same issue, the same mistake, the same approach, repeating the same things. It's just we're hard-headed, and by doing that, we are incomplete because we're preventing ourselves from different experiences, different lessons.
Mm-hmm. And you're also not sharing it, right? So, in other words, because you're doing the same thing.
Correct.
So just imagine how much United States Central Command benefited by having a former senator, by having a businessman, by having a thing and all in there, as opposed to having just a straight up military guy, right? And vice versa. If I was just a straight up whatever, and you didn't have all this other stuff. You're adding things, right? You're adding things together. In this, I don't want to talk politics tonight because it makes me ill. But the reality is, term limits, why are they so important? Because otherwise they're doing it. We get the same thing every year. And so the worst places to live in the United States are those that don't have term limits. Okay? So all those things, it's problematic. Because you see the same person 30 years in a row, there's no reason for him to do anything different. Right. He doesn't have to bring a different idea to the table.
That's true.
It's just me. Okay, I was a senator. Okay, I tried to tell you guys do this, and that. You didn't listen. Okay, fine. I'm moving on. I told you what to do. Right. So you know what? You don't want it? No problem. I'll bring it over here. I'll bring it over there. I'll tell somebody else. Actually, what ran the company that grew to $1 billion was a software I developed from the optical business. Then I'm like, wait a minute, it was at the time cloud computing wasn't a thing. So you used to have to download discs on a, legacy program right at the station in the store for me to like put your patient profile in and do whatever. And I had to buy, it cost like $2,900, $3,000 in software for every single one of my stores, right? But then the web came out and we used to have a website. But at the time, it was informational only. It was just, whatever. And then after I realized the dot bomb happened. So that's when everybody said, wait a minute, the internet, we're not using it correctly. We need to use it to order things. So it wasn't information anymore. It was actually, okay, you process. So I had a website and I had optical centers. I put optical centers on college campuses. So I realized that I went to go put a radio button, which is the 0, and it's a drop down for numbers. And and I go order it to the people who made my website, and they charge me $900 to put this little thing on. Right?
Oh, God.
I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm like, wait a minute. But then it was defaulted at 0. And then I had him put it on so that I could ship it to him at Georgia Tech if I put 2, or I could send it to you at UCF if it said 3, and so forth. And I'm like, well, why do I have also the software in the store? I'll just use the site. So I used the site. I put the radio button on there. So if it was defaulted at 0, it was a pure internet order. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I would just select the school and then it would ship to the school. That system I then developed into Viopsys, Vision Operating System. And then Vision Operating System was a complete ERP solution. So at the point where you would buy the glasses or the contacts or both, I already connected to the source of where I sourced it from. So if I got those lenses from Lucerne Optical in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, or the contacts from Optogenics in Syracuse, I would just select the Bausch & Lomb lenses and the Ralph Lauren frame and the lens. I'd hit confirm. The back already went wherever. But again, it was those things, all our efforts that wouldn't have been there without all of your life experience. So nobody can be you, right?
Yeah.
Why? Do you think AI can tell you what I just said?
No, absolutely.
It lacks perspective.
It lacks
It
perspective.
does.
It can't be you, right? So I just can't wait to see organizations that are going to understand what they do as a business and determine how to hire based on that gap. In other words, you're going to fill that gap. So, if you're in healthcare, it'll be this. If you're in,
You can't fill all the gaps. It can be helpful, but that will be nearly
but
impossible.
from a decision-making standpoint, in other words, who makes this kind of decision? When we were stuck in Afghanistan forever, I used to get so frustrated. I'm like, look at these decision makers, right? George Bush and
How many years were you in the military?
total
for?
24 since 1986 to 2010. But I had some also
24 years?
Yes, but I had a
Wow.
few inactive years, like when I was in the Senate and other things.
Okay.
But then you had a pre 9/11 career and a post 9/11 career. It's the way I explain it to people. Pre 9/11, you're going to Dunkin' Donuts and deciding what bagel you're going to order. Okay, after 9/11, you didn't see your family for 5 years, so it's
Oh,
two
that's
different things.
crazy.
But my point is, in Afghanistan, they would just just be stuck or whatever. And I remember saying to myself, no, they have the wrong generals in here. You need the adjutant general from Delaware, who's the Secretary of Transportation. You need to start building roads over here and connect the trades and all this and that. Like, we're not, stop bombing. like so you have the wrong skill set.
Right.
And that's what I meant, is that AI, in order to get complete, has to have someone who's going to know the prompt, right, for that organization, if that makes sense. Like, you have to know what to ask it.
I'm curious, I know you've mentioned that you spent many years in the military. When that, that chapter of your life was over, how did you feel? How did you rebuild your life? How did you get into what you're doing right now? Because from what I've noticed, a lot of people that are in the military, once that life is over, it's almost that their life just crashes. They are a lot of times unable to rebuild their lives and create something. And it seems like you did that very, very well.
Well, I was fortunate in that I used to literally salivate in the war room, watching the generals in the decision-making process and thinking how I'm going to apply it in business. And so I created my military management system based on that.
Based on that.
Yeah. So there are two systems that are proprietary that I put together and use in my businesses. One is called reality management, and the other is my military management system. So I actually am organized and use the decision-making processes of the military
So
and the information flow.
you turned the lessons you've learned throughout that chapter
Yes.
into something very successful.
Absolutely. I think the military is extraordinary. There's a statement that I heard once when I was younger and more, because I had been in the Senate. I used to, I used to watch all the Sunday shows and all that
Oh.
stuff. And I remember my father-in-law once said, he used to have the funniest line. He's like, "Oh, here we go. Meet the depressed instead of meet the press."
Okay.
It's like, I used to love it. He used to crack me up, but he was so spot on. And so I got to a point where I understood, like, these people are never going to, like, this is all the same. It's plug and play. It's all the same conversations, the same nonsense. It's all the same stuff. So I got turned off on the political side, right? Because I'm like, it's just whoever sits in the seat today and they do the same thing. But, when I put my system together, I said, okay, I remember David Broder, who was a writer, Washington, D.C., Washington Post, I believe at the time. And he has said the biggest disservice we do to our nation is not allow all of its citizens to serve in its defense. And that stuck with me because I think that's where we make a mistake. I think we should have compulsory basic training. Why? No. Can't imagine the comments liberals I'm going to get on this one, right? So they're going to, just hear me out, please. Just hear me out, okay? If you're head of gang A in Chicago, or gang B in Boston, or gang D in Dallas, whatever, shut the you-know-what up, go pick up your 2 pairs of boots, get your 4 T-shirts, get your 4 pairs of pants, and get in line. Okay? If we had that in this nation, it'd be an amazing thing. Okay? It'd be an amazing, amazing, amazing thing to have basic training for 8 weeks and then give them an MOS, a military occupational specialty. So you don't have to be a war fighter. I happen to be a war fighter, to be infantry and civil affairs, but you don't have to be. You could be a dental hygienist in the military. People know that. You could be a firefighter in the military. You can be whatever you want. We have everything.
That's correct.
Okay?
That's correct.
So we have any civilian
Never
job
thought of that.
is in the military.
Not everyone is
Okay?
actually fighting the war.
No, not at
yes.
all. You could be a Russian linguist if you want to be, whatever you want to be. Okay? So, but if they had that, it would foundationally change this country. And especially now. Now, although I'm an Italian immigrant, I happen to be born in Lugano, Switzerland. In Switzerland, you serve Switzerland. Now, you also you can serve it in a civilian capacity. So maybe, my godparents, their kids, maybe, one of them worked at the library for a month once a year or 2 weeks a year, or whatever it is. And somebody else does whatever, but you serve your nation. That's why, people want to create this nationalism against this and that. It's not, there should be, stop with all that. You should love your country. It's not anything to do with national, all this other nonsense. You should just love your country and you should serve your country. And so I believe that would be a huge thing. So, when he said that and, I thought about it, how do I incorporate these systems? How do I, and how do I make everybody feel like we have a starting point? And that's why, systems are important. So, my military system, I think's awesome because of information flow and because it gives clarity on decision making. And it's unemotional. Yeah. I remember I put in, and then I borrowed also from my political time when I was in the Senate. We would have fiscal notes. And I only learned about that because we needed to put a red light in front of the senior center. And I realized it cost $11,000 to put a red light in. So, but you had to fill out the form, you had to do whatever. Well, when I was building a big company, somebody over-ordered carpet. I'm like, what? Why'd they overorder? And come to find out, the boyfriend worked at the carpet factory, and you're like, whoa. So I had to incorporate fiscal notes. And then you had to say, okay, you had to give me at least an option. So this is what I want to do, and then give me an alternative. And the alternative could be cheaper, could be more expensive. There were plenty of times I didn't pick the cheapest option. Maybe speed, maybe expertise, installation, whatever it was, right?
Have you ever had a moment in your life that you felt that you failed and the world was just falling apart?
Yes.
And from that moment, you were able to rise from your own failure, from your own, challenges.
Sure.
Have you ever had a moment like that?
Yeah. And although we can certainly tie it to the business, I think it's mostly on the family side. You have to realize, who are you impacting with your decisions? And that's why it's kind of funny to me, these people who get married like every 3 weeks, like I'm like, can you just stop? Like, just stop. They're going to go on the beach and they have a new thing. And it's like, just stop.
Oh, they do.
It's like, I swear to God, I don't even know these people.
It's
like,
a thing.
Just stop. Just what's wrong with you, man? Like 3 weeks later, there was somebody else. But they do it like, I'm talking on the celebrity level, people who are in the news.
Yeah, they're
I'm not talking on the personal, okay, we all have friends that, everybody, that's great. Go ahead, go have fun. But I'm talking about people who impact or people who have followers or whatever, and it's like every 2 minutes, they don't understand who they're impacting. Like, don't you love your children? Like, how can you make these decisions? How are your children not your number one reason why you're going to make the next decision? Or somebody of value. So we live in a me world. And I see it all the time. I see it all the time. And, I have followers, right? So a lot of them, I've met, but there are a lot of people I've never met, right?
Right.
So, and the reality is, I try and interact and, and I like people. So, I'm always trying to be, again, interactive, friendly and so forth. But man, I've seen phenomenons out there, these people are independent and all this stuff. And this goes back to church now. Sorry. They keep trying to like reach for the stars and reach for this and look under this and look under that and come up with formulas and sticky notes and all this other stuff. How about try this? Ready? Go to church. Okay. Or whatever faith, temple, whatever you do, mosque, temple, whatever it is. How about that? Go do that. And I always tell people, I am not like super knowledgeable or a reader of things, the Bible, everything. I'm not. I know the basics. And I know my mother. And I know if you don't kill people, that's probably a good one. Okay.
But also
if you don't steal from people, that's probably another good one.
But also
right?
faith in God is something that you feel. Something that
You
goes
feel-
beyond what you can see, but it's inside. Because I do believe that like the Holy Spirit, the power of like Jesus and God, they live within ourselves. So you can feel that faith comes from within.
Right.
So it's not just about being super knowledgeable on the Bible, because there's so many people who can talk about any story that's on the Bible, but do they really have faith?
And that's the thing is I used to, I am somewhat of a jokester and I like to, lighten things up with people and dialogue. And I always used to, sometimes when I made cash the first time, I'm buying all the toys and everything. I'm like, yeah, I learned to be very specific. I'm like, hey, no, I need this Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and he's delivering all the time, right? I'm always like laughing and stuff. But then I realized, the way I pray, thank you for giving me the vision and the ability to have faith and for my family. That's it. That's my prayer. Like that's all I say. I say thank you. So I went from being very specific, I call my mothers for the specifics.
Specifics.
I call my mother for the specifics. I'm like, listen,
Right.
this meeting at 2:30. I need it by 3:30. I got to get the wire out. I'm like, so,
Right.
she's like, I'm going, starting right now. I go, yeah, hurry up. It's going to go up by 5.
Right.
But no, but just saying, okay, thank you for that the kids have faith. Thank you.
Gratitude.
Thank you that I have it. Because then everything is built off that because I'm calm, right? It goes back to being calm. I said, okay, well, it wasn't meant to be then.
And once you find
So
gratitude.
it wasn't meant to be, right? So if something doesn't go a certain way.
Yes. But have you noticed when you pray and you have gratitude towards everything you have, everything you do, everything that was given to you that day or in that moment, everything feels lighter. Your perception, your vision of things,
Mm-hmm.
you just feel lighter.
100%.
You know,
That's a great
Then
term.
you have less anxiety. You feel more calm. You have more
Mhm.
clarity because you have gratitude. So you're able to point and give attention to all the good things that are
Yes.
given to you rather than give so much attention to all the negative things that could possibly have happened that day or in that chapter of your life. So I think
100%.
like you mentioned, you not doing any extensive, prayer that's there's nothing crazy about it, but you are feeling it. You mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that sense, that deep feeling of gratitude. I'm grateful for everything I have. Thank you for this day.
Yes.
So I think that's what's transformational in your life, and that's probably what gives you that feeling of not have that idea that you don't panic so much about things because you're giving attention to the positive things that God actually is providing to you, is giving to you.
And and for me, it's also, it fits the, I've always been known kind of for the word discipline. And there was an article that was written once in Inc. magazine, and it had my picture and it said disciplined and so forth. And so the thing that was important about that is I incorporated that structure. So I do something every morning. I read a certain thing every
Okay.
morning, and I make sure it's the first thing I do. So that again is part of structure. So when I first started talking to my children about going to church, other things and stuff, as they became adults, obviously as a family, we went when we were little. Everybody got communion, baptized, all that stuff. But it's like, okay, as an adult, are you going to go? And why should you go? Or why would you go,
Right.
et cetera? And I said, especially with Connor, who works all the time. He works all the time. And I said, listen, if you can't find 50 minutes, your life sucks. Like, your life sucks. If you can't find 50 minutes to just go and sit down for a second and be amongst great people, and it's funny, our parish right now, as I transition to our permanent place, and I'll be going to the parish in Palm Beach, but we go to another one closer over here or sometimes near where the girls go to college. I always make a point as we leave church to look around and I say, look at all these people. I said, you think these people want like are hurting people? Like are doing anything like today that is like negative or doing like they took time out to come here for a second just to be good people. And that's a great thing. Like to know there's somebody like you out there that just wants to just contribute, be nice. But if I can transition for a moment, I do also believe that we have a duty to take care of our families. safety-wise. So I told you I'm transitioning where I'm moving. And the world's a very crazy place.
It really is.
And I chose to invest in security at the gate. And I chose to invest in security in my building. And you know what? Everybody else can go partying around. Go to Miami for the 75th time and go party it up.
Right.
I'm cool, man. I will be right here overlooking West Palm Beach and being there and that, and this is going to sound like a wild statement, but I want to say it.
Yeah.
That is when I'm like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. I am like, wow, how did I get here? To be able to just be happy about this. To be happy about this moment right now. Peaceful, quiet, just, and know the world's nuts.
You got there from living. I think from everything you've shared, you've never prevented yourself from actually living and experiencing, all the different careers and traveling and everything you could possibly experience and the challenges. And I think that's where you look back as you sit at your home and as you like you said you have an overview of the city and you're just relaxing and you question yourself how you got there.
Mhm.
So I think looking back, the reason you got there is because you did not avoid life. You lived and you continue to live, but now more mature with that
Mhm.
sense of fulfillment and also enjoying your lessons, enjoying everything you've learned. So that gives you tranquility, that gives you that it's a good feeling, I think, to reach that point. And not many people can say they've feel that way. They've reached that point. Not that you're in
Yeah.
constant learning process, but you've reached a point where you can feel calm. You can actually enjoy yourself, your existence and relax.
And I hope that people, do look at the quiet resources and find us, because I'm not going to be loud. Those days are done. Like, I'm not going to go show off and this, like, those days are done.
But you don't have
But the
to.
quiet resources, again, for me, as you're explaining what you just said and the beauty of tranquility and everything, I'm envisioning, the greats in Europe in their monastery, in their, homes in
Yeah.
Tuscany, and people come to visit, and people come to, like, they're there. And it goes back to what I told you. I messed up. I should have got my place in Positano or Capri and somewhere.
Oh.
I'm like, no, everybody come to me. I'm not flying. I'm not flying anywhere.
You mentioned
I'm
that
like, I don't want to
earlier.
fly anywhere. I just want to be here, and I just want to. And that's the beauty. And last June, I had I accomplished something that was a dream of mine, which was to have a family reunion in Italy. And I have many, many, many cousins, and we were able to get about 65 people together, and it was just a tremendous thing for all my children to connect, to make sure they exchanged emails. And again, this year I'll formalize all that information, and we're able to get our family tree back 11 generations. It's like, it's just awesome. And just to be able to understand that continuity. But that goes back to how I opened, right? Is to say, I don't want to diminish having that information because somebody else doesn't know who their parents are. I want to be able to say it.
And you
And
shouldn't.
I want to be able, but I want them to be able to dialogue with me. And instead, their mothers or their fathers or whatever are creating divisiveness. They're
Right.
creating a wealth disparity in conversations. And instead of saying, no, that should be somebody talk to them, and I might be able to help you.
I think
And, that's the part where I just hope it merges.
And it does. I don't think you have to diminish that, especially learning now that we're both learning more about you. I think the, a big, beautiful side of who you are in your life is how much you value your family,
Mhm.
how much you value your mother, your parents, your roots.
Mhm.
And that's extremely deep. I think and we know even from the old days, our roots, our family is the foundation, is the base. And as you bring that topic now, and as you know, there's so much dysfunction in the world. A lot of people don't have their parents, don't have,
Right.
or maybe their parents were just not good to them, and there's a lot of dysfunction in the
Sure.
family. You bringing that up, how much you value your family and how much your upbringing has shaped who you are as a man
Mhm.
today, is a beautiful thing. We have to remind the new generation, remind the world right now what actually matters, because the reason why a lot of people don't have that memory of their parents, unless they passed for any other reason, the reason why they don't have positive imprints from their experience with their parents is because the world has turned into a dysfunctional place.
Thank you.
People have
That's
lost their values, what truly matters. So, what you said, it does come together because you're actually reminding the world of what actually matters. It's not, you're not really ignoring or making the other person that doesn't have what you had
Mhm.
feeling bad, but you're reminding them this is what matters. So, as you move forward and you build your own family,
It's their own unique
be that
experience.
parent you never had. Don't engage in dysfunction, and don't become a dysfunctional future parent just because you didn't have a good foundation,
And
good roots.
exactly, you should be the opposite in
The
some cases.
opposite. Yes.
That's why I say, I didn't speak about my follow up because we started talking about my mother. But to understand, here's two people, right? They get married at 21
Right.
years old. He goes to Switzerland first for a year. One of the things, my mother's gonna get mad at me, but when he passed, I found all the letters, the love letters, and boy, did she go bananas
Right.
when she saw that I read them. Oh man. But the way he used to write, oh my God. It's like I yearn for the day, the morning sun when I see your smile. I mean, he was a songwriter anyway,
Ah,
but it was all like other level,
poetry.
right? It's amazing. But you see the way he was dressed in a suit in 1961, and like they're like, and then what do we have now? What do we have now?
Yeah.
you know, as our role models, these people, they're running around. And I'm like, stop with all that. And that's where I do want to name names. I do want to say stuff. I'm like, stop it, guys.
Yes.
Stop looking at Justin Bieber. Look at my father. Okay.
Yes.
Don't tell me that this is normal. It's not. Right. And that's where I have to tell you from a satisfaction standpoint. And I've been this way in politics and military and business. I've always been fortunate that people don't question where I stand. They don't question it. And they allow me the ability to be me. And I know for a lot of people, that's not something they can do. They'll lose their job, they'll lose their friends, they'll
Yeah.
lose their family, they'll lose all that. But that's why I emphasize it with my kids and others. Say it now. Say it now. So no one thinks like, oh, okay, they can sway you. So if they're going to have a hard time, if their boyfriend and girlfriend's going to be far away or this, that, don't care. That was no. He went to Switzerland for a year. Like,
Yeah.
like, you can do it. Like, it doesn't matter, right? So these are the things where, as a society, in general, it should all apply that, like I said, I'm not better than anybody, but nobody's better than me.
Right.
Say it to yourself. Say it to yourself. No matter who you are, say it to yourself. And remember I told you business people are like athletes? Do you think Tom Brady takes the field thinking that you're better than him? No. So why can't I do it in business? Why are you calling me arrogant? Why are you telling me that I think that I know everything? You bet your ass I think that. Okay. I hate people who walk in the room and say, Well, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Then get out of here. What are you doing here? Okay,
You have
because
to-
I called in the smartest guy. I hired the smartest guy, like for that expertise, of course.
Right.
So
Yes.
it's like so it's just funny that if you want to succeed in business, you have to know where you want to play. So if you want to be a solo practitioner, fine. If you want a small business, no problem. That's what you built, right?
Right.
My Uncle Vinny passed, and he was a great guy, great guy. He was the town barber. Every single kid got his hair cut there. Every policeman went through there. Everybody went to Uncle Vinny. You understand? That's who he was. But that's his business, right? Now, is that equivalent to Amazon? Maybe,
Yes.
right? Because that's what he built. So that's what I try and tell people. Like, you don't, just backwards plan into the objective. And but hopefully you think my story had a little bit of value.
Well, I think
But
you brought a lot of value. I think you've built a beautiful life for yourself. One of the things that I really love about your story is how much you valued your mom, how much you valued
Thank
your
you.
family, your roots. And I think that has shaped you into who you are.
Thank
And
you.
I also believe that your background in the military style, which that was a positive thing of you sharing, because for a lot of people, that military style has brought destruction. But you actually brought the value of it into your life.
Yes.
You did not stay with the negative aspects of it, but you actually observed and paid attention and actually learned from it. And you left the military with so much knowledge and so much strength. And you applied that into your business, you applied that into your life. And that's where you are today. And you continue to do it. But now, also passing that knowledge along to your kids and everyone else that you meet and even to us today, because we're, as we're listening to you, we're also learning, right? As I'm listening,
Thank
I'm
you.
also I tend to go really deep and I do my best to learn from it, because every story can have an impact on other people's lives. So your story, just by us listening, can have some level of impact in our lives as well right now, because
Thank
there
you.
is always a beautiful lesson behind it. So I truly, truly,
And it's reciprocal, though, because see, when I went to the event you put together, what gave me great hope is people like you exist. Do you understand that? Because if you turn on the news and you turn on TV and all this other stuff, and the world is so chaotic,
yes.
that's what now go back to the 1% I talked about. You're the 1%. So we find each other,
Yes.
right? We find each other. And the thing is, I hope for the parents out there, for those who want to start a business, or those who are struggling in business, or those who are successful but need peers. I had no peers in Rhode Island. I had like 3. That was a big problem, because people thought, oh, well, he thinks he's this, he thinks he's that. I don't know how many of you guys making this much money. It's like 2 different things, right? So I had no one to talk to. I literally had 3-4 people. Okay, so it's understanding, is there an honest parent out there who's saying, hey, I don't possess the knowledge or the experience, and rather than me tell my daughter that she's perfect the way she is in her messed up life, or my son that he's great and he's destructive instead, can you walk them over and say, hey, can you do this? And speak to them for a moment, and maybe have an impact, but not a momentary impact. Like one that says, no, you are me. Hey, brother, don't worry about it. I went to John F. Horgan Elementary School, brother. I had a lunchbox. I was called a latchkey child, right? They taped
Mhm.
my key inside. I went home and I waited for my mother to come back at
Right.
4:00. So I'm 7 years old. So I'm by myself. Now, it is what it is, but it's okay. So don't get confused. All this stuff you see, everything you read about, all the success and all that. No, that started somewhere. But the difference was my parents took me to church. And it doesn't matter if I was kicking or screaming or wanted to watch wrestling or wanted to watch football. My father's like, no. And then I'd go, all right, fine. And I'm walking out and he's like, hey, change your shirt. Because whatever I was wearing wasn't good enough to go to church. Change your shirt. Okay. Have standards. So those things are so important.
Have standards.
You have
Like
to,
that.
but you have to say that. But we're in a society that gets so they want to argue things that shouldn't be argued. Like instead of saying, no, hey, that pizza slice at the gas station is not the same as the one in Naples.
Right.
Stop trying to sell me that pizza slice. Now, fine. If I only have $1, which is plenty of times I've only had $1, I'll eat the pizza slice.
Yeah.
But life and family and things that, you brought up, and I'm obviously super humbled by your words. I think that's where I decided to focus, going back to where you said, from a 0, did you bounce back? Oh, yeah. But I bounced back not to get toys and not to get all the other stuff, although I like them. Okay. And I've learned better ways to access them.
Right.
It's no, for me, the most satisfying thing ever is to have all my kids like in the same place for a minute. Like I like loving it.
I can see
I'm
that.
like, oh my God, please. I'm like, this
I
is the
can see
best. I'm
that.
like, how did this happen? But I pray every day because statistics. Drive slow, do this,
Yeah.
do that. You might sound like, oh my, stop saying that. Let them be that, whoever they are. No. I'm still going to say it, just like my mother still says it to me.
Yeah.
my mother to this day, every morning, we have a ritual every morning. She sends me, if I were to show you my phone,
Aw.
my mother every morning, she sends me an image, and I'll tell you right now, you don't have to scroll a lot,
Okay.
but just scroll up or down, whichever way, and it's the same thing every day.
Oh,
And what do I say? Can you say it in Italian?
are you the white or the?
I'm the buongiorno. She sends me an image,
Okay.
and then what do I say?
Vedi come Noel te guarda.
No. It's always the same line I use all the time. Buongiorno. Do you see it?
Oh no, I don't see buongiorno.
Wait a minute. It's over in the green. Let me see.
Oh, now I
You see it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. See, what does it say?
Buongiorno, I love you. Oh.
How many emojis?
Oh,
What are the 3 what?
three hearts and 3 kisses.
Right. And how many times do I do it? Every
And
single
they're all
day.
the same.
Every single
They're
day.
all buongiorno. I love you.
Every single day.
Every single time.
Wow.
That's how our first
wow.
interaction in the morning.
That's incredible.
Every morning.
Oh wow, and it's exactly the same.
Now, how many people are doing that with their
And the
parents?
numbers of
If their
emojis are the
parents
same
are
too.
alive, how many people are
That's
doing that?
incredible.
Giovanni, that really reminded me of what you said at the event on the 3 questions you have to ask yourself.
Yes.
And it's really special to see how really incorporated your family really is into your life, because that was one of the questions you said people should
Yeah.
ask themselves, who they want to do it with. And
Right.
in your case, it's family, which is really special.
Yeah, and those 3 questions for the audience. So, through the advanced management
Yeah.
program at Wharton, there was a professor, Richard Schell, and it was an interesting guy because he was a pacifist, but his father was a major general. Okay, so but he said, hey, there are 3 questions to ask yourself, right? Who am I as a person? What will I do with my life?
That's what I.
And who will I do it with?
That's exactly what you said at the
And
end.
I just took that down and I applied it everywhere. And so it's true if you find yourself, I'm a creature of habit when it comes to like my daily life type of thing. And listen, I hang out with the guys, I have my little group of guys. I go to the same place all the
Yes.
time. And, I put my baseball hat on, I take the suit off, whatever it is. I just want to relax. And it's like, okay, on Sunday football and Monday night football, I do it with these guys.
Right.
At church, I do it with my family. At dinner on here, I do it with her, et cetera. You know what I'm saying?
You
It's
have
just,
your
it is what it
routine, your
is. Yeah.
structure, your
And, one thing is, I just think if people were to ask that last part all the time, then they realize, you know, there's a reason why you're with someone and why you are together and why you speak the same language. And, and it's always the people who want to disrupt it that are doing exactly that. They're disrupting your life. Don't let disruptors in to your life. Like, just keep it nice and, but it's, it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride right now. So I'm going to keep it going.
Giovanni, since we're, reaching towards the end of the podcast, what is a phrase or a word that you hold on to it every single day of your life that you would share with, whoever is watching in the next generation, a word or a phrase of empowerment?
Well, I don't know that it would be empowerment, but since I do like to be authentic, and so I like to actually show you that I just don't pull it out of the sky. Okay. So maybe you can read the quote that I have in my email, in all my emails.
It says, remember there is nothing stable in human affairs. Avoid, therefore, undue excitement in prosperity or undue despair in adversity.
That's right.
That's a great advice.
Yeah, because, when Socrates wrote that, and, I was going to repeat it very strongly the way and I'll say it even my own way after, right? Which is, remember that there is nothing stable in human affairs, right? So apply it to today's times, right? In the news and two sides fighting and the world is chaos. And okay, that's going to be like that all the time. Whoever thinks that you're going to wake up Tuesday at 11 and it's not, there's something wrong with you. Like just stop. So if you already know that, now you can take on the day because you live in reality. Remember I told you reality management, right?
Yes.
So then it says, avoid, therefore, undue excitement and prosperity. So what I talked about earlier, how many yachts you going to buy? How many Lamborghinis and Ferraris and going to show off your bling and all this stuff? Like, just stop. Stop.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, or like it says, avoid undue despair in adversity. So this goes back to my Feroce Foundation. So just, you don't kill yourself. Okay. You don't. There is absolutely nothing, zero situation that you should ever end your life. Zero. And it's not yours to end. And you certainly don't have to follow me on this point for a moment, but I've always been pro-life, okay? But I'm 100% pro-life. So even though, in the military and everything else, I can justify that because I believe the devil is trying to, if someone wants to blow up somebody or wants to kill people, I'm going to take them out as going against devil. But when you see people deciding, death penalty, this and that, I'm 100% pro-life. So I don't think you should be God. You're not God.
Right.
Okay, so that's not your job. That's what I believe. So that's why suicide is not allowed. It's not, you are not to treat your life like that. That's not yours to do.
In any circumstances.
And so, I'm extra conscious of that, of saying, hey guys, stop it. What are you doing? What are you doing? And again, I don't know how many people have the fortitude to have those hard discussions So I I buy some T-shirts, other things to support some organizations that deal with military suicides, because you've probably heard the number. There are 22 a day that commit suicide that are in the military or veterans.
Yes, I've heard
And
that. That's
yeah, so it's been like that literally for 20 years.
That's why I had.
So it's
That's why I mentioned earlier, because you're like that 1% that you turned your life around, and you actually created something amazing with the lessons from the military.
yes, and I'm very fortunate, but that's the thing is, like, for someone to take it to that step, that's what I was saying. There's nothing that bad. If you think about it, even in business, you know how many times, and you know this because
Yes,
we're in
yes,
business, right?
yes.
You get that phone call. I'm like, listen, man, you know what? Just stop. Okay? Maybe it didn't work out. So what? You missed your flight. So what? And so I apply those two words. So what? So what?
Nothing is that
All right,
bad.
so what? So what? It's what it is, right? Now, if you didn't give it the effort, then there's a repercussions for not doing something the correct way or the proper way
Right.
or the honest way or whatever. There should be repercussions. But if you gave it your all and you've exhausted everything, who the heck is a reporter to go knock you down and say you suck when all they did is just they have a job? It's wild. It's wild, right? So I try and I think I could say this here, since I'm not gonna hold back. I pay a lot of people's rents, and I've paid funerals for people I don't know.
I believe you.
Okay. And people say, and then my kids, as they were growing up, they're like, Dad, why do you do that? Why do you do that? You don't even know this person. That's it. Just for someone to ask me. That's it. I don't need to grind them down,
No.
beat them down and say, why, no, and then I'll give it to them.
Right.
That's why anybody I've ever asked for money, no, you have an opportunity to invest. I'm not asking you for cash. I'm giving you an opportunity to invest. Now, if you're smart enough to invest, you will have payback times 20 at some point in your life.
Right.
Maybe it's not 1 year, maybe it's not 7 years, maybe not 10 years, who knows? But you have me as your friend for life, okay? And you'll never be on the street. and that's what happens is you have to ask yourself, why is someone in the position they're in? And too many people are critical instead of just helping them at the moment. But I'm not talking about your liberal and conservative viewpoints. You're homeless, this, that. No, it's two different things I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person who actually is trying to reach something and has put everything they have into it. And they can actually get there if you help them. But they have to know you exist.
True.
They have to know you exist. And I just hope, I don't know, I hope we can impact. I think we can.
You are already impacting this from this conversation, and I think now with your foundation that I think it's going to be very unique, much needed to society. And from your background, your story, you're naturally empowering others. You're empowering even guys that are leaving the military and they don't know what to do with their lives, and listening from someone who actually did it, who continues to do it. I think it's very, very
Thank you.
necessary.
They are a tremendous asset. I'll tell you right now, any organization that doesn't have at least a few military people in it, you are not complete, because they are so on the money. I'll tell you, the only reason I built $1 billion company is because I hired a general to be the COO. Okay. And people still to this day, don't understand that. They still don't understand it. They think, oh, no, he was your friend. They have no concept that I looked at him and he said, well, what do I know about this? I said, you don't need to know anything about that. You're a general, right? He's like, yeah, that means nothing was effed up and nothing was late. So that's what I need. That's what I need here because we just left $25 million in unfilled orders. And so you need that expertise. And I'm telling you, regardless of service or, really the brand, doesn't matter. The fact that they have it in them, the fact that they performed. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, congratulations. Like, well, I didn't do anything. I go, no, of course you did. Like you did this, man. That's an amazing thing. Like you did it, And I just love the word fabric, right? There's a fabric of society, and so there's a piece to it all. And one thing that I have started saying in the last year, especially, is engine, right? There are different components to an engine, and every single piece is needed. And anybody who doesn't believe that, then you're not paying attention. So if you're dismissing the little person or whatever, you know how many people I fired in my life? I could probably count them on one hand. Okay. Now, I've been part of organizations where others have fired people, not me. Okay. The only people I've ever gotten rid of either stole from me or didn't show up. Okay. Like literally didn't show up. Okay. Because I give everybody a chance over and over and over again. But the fact is, you can't get rid of, you look at those screens, you look at these microphones, or, what piece is not needed here? I don't know. It probably won't work if you take this thing out, right? Or this will fall on my lap if you take this one out. Like every piece is important.
Every human brings value into the world. And it's I think the moment we understand that, we become more connected. We respect each other more and we value each other more, regardless of what we look like, what we are. I think that, knowledge that you just mentioned of every piece is needed. It's a beautiful one, especially when you're talking about suicide and your foundation. The moment we all understand that we're all needed, that we matter, and I think that's a great start. It's a great start to your foundation. Like every piece matters. Every single piece.
I'd love to know a little bit more, maybe offline, on how the foundation works.
Sure.
Because I think it will require a little bit of courage on their side if there is going to be an outreach from the executives that are, going through that tough time to whatever the channel might be, to try to reach out to your foundation to try to get some help. But on the conversation of courage, and as we come to a close, I would love to hear your thoughts based on your experience. What piece of wisdom would you give the next generation? Let's say they're 15 years old, they're just starting out, about courage for the rest of their life and what it takes for them to build.
So I think they need to be honest about their environment, and I think they need to be honest about who they want to be. So once you realize, who you want to be, like if I knew there was something different, like I was not going to have a job, I was not going to do the same thing that a lot of other people did. But the thing is, I wasn't knocking anybody, or I never thought it negative. It's just, for me, whatever I chose to want to do differently, then I had to take that leap to do it. But I had to be pragmatic and saying, it's going to take A, B, C, D to position myself to be here.
Would
right?
you say a leap of faith?
So it is a leap. But the thing is, it's understanding your environment.
Yes.
Right? And we're in a society these days that there's just wrong narratives. There's people that make everything about race. There's things that make everything about economics. That make everything about religion or other things. There's always this. They keep trying to like group people, and I don't think it's about that. I think it's about viewpoints. So if we can have whatever background, but if we have a shared viewpoint, then it's going to bring everybody together because we're trying to do this, or we believe in this, or we want to do this. And there should be, tied all the way back to that. If I did it, that means you can do it. Right. So there's no reason why you can do it. But you can't do it if you're just watching TV.
No.
But even if I'm, even if I'm saying like right
Yeah.
now, right, to think about, we've been here quite a while and it's great. I have 2 men out there that are my sons. Okay. And like I said, I'll brag again. One of them, 430 under 30, works like a maniac, is doing great things in life. He's going to get married in May. He's got a million things going on in his life. Okay. I got the other guy, senior at Princeton. He's in the Army. He's going to be commissioned. He ran the Boston Marathon. He's doing a triathlete in France in June. He's got all kinds of stuff going on. What are they doing right now? I want you guys to answer so the audience understands right now. What are they doing right now?
Socializing?
No. What are they doing out there?
Oh,
Where are they? Where are they physically right now?
they're outside.
They're supporting you. They're next
They're
to you.
outside. Where? In a hallway?
The hallway, probably.
They've been in a hallway. They can't even see us.
No.
Okay? Anybody else would be like, what the hell are we doing here? Let's get out of here.
But they're here to support you.
And you know what? They're probably even thinking that too. What the hell are we doing here? We can stay at home, okay?
I know. It's
But
like,
how many people say, I wish I had one more day with my dad?
True.
How many people? And that's what I try and explain. My dad used to come watch me referee basketball. I used to go get paid $25 a game at CYO. We lived near this high school. We used to just walk over and watch the games. That's what I remember. Like, it's those moments, right? When we leave here, obviously we'll go get something to eat and we spend time together before one goes back to school. The other one's going to go back to New York. Okay. But this is what I'm talking about, that is just as important as your most important class at NYU or the whatever meeting you're at JP Morgan, okay? What my sons are doing outside there, I will put against your meeting, okay, in New York right now on Wall Street.
Right.
I will put it against that because I am checking a box that you better check. And if you're not checking that box, there's something wrong. You are not complete.
True.
Okay, you're not complete. And my passion only becomes about because it ties all the way back to the foundation of what put you in a position to be so stressed? What put you in that position? What box didn't you check? And why didn't you check it? And you shouldn't just check the box. You should live that box. To your point, live it. I'm living. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to go hang out with Tommy and Connor.
And you are. They are very supportive of you. I mean,
but I want to get Winston, my dog. He's at home. He's my other boy. We're going to take a picture, all 4 boys. and then when Emma, Lily, and Bella together, we'll get over with all the girls.
That's an amazing time.
And then their mom, Christy. Christy's awesome. She's a banker.
I think they value
Someday,
you as much
when I open the bank, and
Oh.
Christy, she's going to be the CEO.
I think they value you as much as you value them.
Mhm.
Especially it comes from your lessons. That's what you taught them. You continue to teach them how important family is and all those family values. So I think they're very happy to be here supporting you. You could see on their faces their excitement and everything. That means
It just cracks me up to know, like, that we love each other so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just awesome to know that there's 2 guys sitting in a hallway. It's not like they're 12 years old.
I know. Let's go check what they're doing.
It just makes me happy to know, like, that they went through that and they'll have this memory.
They'll have this memory. Oh my God, I went there. I thought it was going to be an hour, and it's been 2 hours.
But we're going to make it a business thing too, though. What did you semi-offer me before, which is awesome? You thought about potentially next time when you do the younger group.
Yes. I thought of it.
It doesn't just rain hard and everybody's successful in life,
the offer is on the table
right?
already.
It's all about positioning.
Yes, it's already there.
When in my military career, I had a very unique position. I was the first ever liaison from the United States Central Command to the United States government. And one day, I was walking out of the White House doing different things, and one of my friends back home, somebody else, his father was saying something very kind about, like, oh, he's got a big job, he's got this big thing. And somebody else goes, oh, I wish I would have done something like that, but you didn't. In other words, you have to position yourself or you can't get it.
You have to position yourself.
And that goes back to decision making, right? Listen, I made plenty of poor decisions in my life. But at the same time, if I have guidance, that's what I was talking about, bring your kid over. Like, tell me, I wish somebody told me how to become a general. I would have been a general. I didn't know. Like, I didn't have that route.
Right.
Maybe Tommy will be a general. I don't know. He wants to be in business too. But you have to position yourself. And so, Connor meeting you guys, maybe you'll interview him one day.
Oh no, I will. I mean,
Tommy,
the offer is on the table. I just
it's
now I just
awesome.
need to.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
I think that's going to be amazing, and then I actually mean it. So
thank you so much.
So let's do it.
You guys are wonderful.
Yeah.
I really appreciate.
Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate your being here. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your support at the event. Everything was new. It was, we're having another one October. It's going to be every year.
Fantastic.
A few dinners in between, but your support was very meaningful.
Thank
So
you.
I appreciate, especially like you said, it was something unique, something that we started just a few months ago. So I had no idea how, I knew how it was going to be received. I mean, it was received really well in wealth management conferences and other places we've been at interviewing. But I had no idea how it was going to be received at the event. And I think it was really meaningful to me for everyone that actually grabbed the mic and spoke and shared something.
You did it correctly, though. The whole thing was done right. This goes back to, we won't get back into the whole everything about business, but it just, for every action, there's a reaction, right? And you just have to be realistic. So with what you were putting together, you can't just do that at the basement of the church basement. Like, it's not going to work.
No, it's
not. And that's what people don't understand, right? They want to come and bootstrap a business, whatever, but then their eyeballs are like this. And it's two different things. Like, we talked about the days of Silicon Valley in the garage and all that. Those days are over. You gotta do it a certain way. You gotta. So that's I think with what you guys put together, you not only were able to get a good group of people, but you did it to where someone's going to say, okay, yeah, I'm not going to miss this.
Yes,
and that's what you
hope
want to
so.
be on the calendar. Like, you want. That's what. It's just there's a certain way to do things, and I think you did it correctly, and you just keep getting better and better, and it's just
It's
great.
slowly growing, and the event will happen again in October, and that's something we are going to consistently
Nice.
bring into life every year. But thank you so much.
Thank
you
you.
for sharing your wisdom with us and the next
Sharing your
generation.
wisdom.
Hope everyone has a great life, and just remember, nobody's better than you. Nobody.
Let's stay with that. Nobody's
right.
better than you.
Nobody.
And
You're the best one in the room. That's what you said.
There you go.
That's
I
right.
start
You
remembering that.
Yeah, you are. You are.
When imposter syndrome hits, we're like, no, I am the best one in the room. I think that's very important.
Absolutely.
Very empowering. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.